Okay, so this is the first step in crystallizing your world consciousness, in enjoying the juiciest of the most exquisite fruits of the illusion while honoring yourself, self-respect, self-love, and responsibility. That's the disclaimer. All that you're going to learn here to be used within integrity, self-love, self-respect, and responsibility. I think you wouldn't be here anyways, because this information can really fuck some shit up. Okay? So, step one, self-concept. You gotta be rooted and grounded in who you assume yourself to be. The world only responds to the beliefs that you have about yourself. If you don't have a morning practice of attuning into the version of yourself that you already are, because there's no gap, guys, there's no separation. You cannot become the rich man from the consciousness of the poor man or the beggar guy or the person in lack. You can't. It's impossible. You need to become the rich man now, and then reality transforms to conform to your new assumptions about yourself. So, self awareness. What is the first thought that you have when you open your eyes in the morning? First thought. That is how you're coding your reality. Having a thought that alchemizes all of the cells in your body into the rich man or woman that you are as soon as you wake up, that's going to shift every single action and creation during your day. So, guys, we don't try to change the mirror. The mirror is just reflecting your past thoughts and beliefs, even from past lifetimes and incarnations. You gotta shift your vibration. You gotta tune yourself into your preferred and desired frequency, and then reality responds alike. When you're tossed to the world is thus to thee. When you meet somebody, they are only responding to your crystallized thought form. So imagine your body being just like a matrix with little codes, like little numbers 0, 8, 9, X, 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 just like the matrix coding. When people look at you and see you on a Zoom call, on a video, on walking around your hometown, whatever, they can only choose from the coding that you have imprinted within yourself. So this is a journey of decoding, disintegrating anything that's not aligned with the rich man, the rich woman. So self-concept. This is an exercise in crafting your ideal self-concept. Who are you when nobody's watching? That's the one you need to work on. Who are you when nobody's watching? What do you say to yourself in private? Who are you in your deepest and closest relationships? Because those are the ones that are your highest teachers. Those are the biggest catalysts. The way you relate to your spouse, to your closest friends, to your business partners, coworkers, collaborators. Those are the messengers telling you who you are. And again, you don't try to shift the mirror. You take a step back. Thank you, but no thank you. What is this showing me about myself? What yet I haven't seen, looked at? What is something I can twitch or modify in my consciousness to attune myself into the frequency of all my heart's desires? So first thing you wake up in the morning, mind and blank, even before you have to go pee, even before the most important thing in the world is your first thought before you wake up in the morning, because you're attuning yourself to the radio frequencies that you wish to experience. But if you wake up in the morning and you're going to drag on the thoughts of limitation and lack and the poor man or woman, beggar consciousness, then that is a hologram video game that you're going to experience that day in your reality. So, what is your self concept? I invite you to have a journal dedicated to the mastermind, to this course, and write in the journal, how do I view myself? And write your preferred self concept. And then in another column, write, how do people view me? How do my spouse respond to me? How do my closest friends respond to me? Because you could be living in your self-created delusion that's not crystallized because you're not paying attention and bringing awareness to how your closest relationships respond to you. They're just hired actors playing roles to mirror back at you where you're at. So instead of getting annoyed or angry at the mirror, be like, oh, thank you for choosing to play this role. What is this telling me about myself? So, okay, first column in your journal, you write, how do I view myself? Second column, how do my closest relationships respond to me? And then in the third column, what is not in alignment with my preferred view of myself? And find out the blind spots and then analyze them. Like, oh, okay. Well, my spouse keeps just projecting the wound that I have when I was, I don't know, 20 and I had that discussion with my birth father or birth mother. Oh, what is that wound? Go back to when you were 20. What happened when I was 20? I'm just setting up a number, but you would know what is the age of regression where you have to go and do the work. Work play. Then replay the scene. What is a belief? What is the assumption that I adopted about myself when I was 20, 15, 8 years old in that challenging relationship with my birth mother or birth father? It's usually somebody that represents authority. It can be a teacher, it can be an ex-lover, it can be whatever, a mentor. What is the assumption that I adopted about myself that I keep unconsciously replaying in my relationships? That's the number one step for wealth consciousness. It's not your career. It's not repeating endless affirmations. It's not crafting new products, creating new projects, because all of your products, all of your projects are going to be dampened if you don't come from a crystallized space of feeling completely worthy and deserving of that financial abundance that will come from the project, that will come from the company, that will come out of nowhere. Sometimes I have had to do nothing and people just throw money at me without even having had any business, had any company running. People were just like, hey, I want to throw money at you because I had an assumption. People love to throw money at me. People feel excited to give me their money. People are exhilarated to just be in my presence that they want to share their financial abundance. No questions asked, no reason. So that's my self assumption. That's how I wake up in the morning. I'm like, whoa, I'm wondering who wants to throw their money at me today just because it makes them feel good. I don't even have to deliver anything. The moment they give me the money, the sensation it's delivered. Everything else is extra. It's like the cherry on the top. So your manifestations will not crystallize and fully embody themselves in the reality, the company, the wonderful relationship, the millions of dollars, the high-end paying career, job, business, company will not crystallize itself unless you're not assuming that it is so and you're behaving every second of the day in that grounded self-concept. So after you create those two columns, you're going to create a third one, which is a diagram. It's a huge circle. I had that for years in my journal. And you're going to craft your ideal self-concept honestly, okay? Looking at the good qualities that you perceive yourself to be at, because we all want to be already perfect. We are. It's a paradox, guys. We are perfect, yet we're refining the subtleties to live in that crystallized perfection moment to moment to moment. Okay, so in the Venn diagram, or in just a circle, Venn diagram is you put two circles and you write all the qualities in which you see yourself in your juiciest, most abundant, exciting self-concept. And in the second one, how people sometimes respond to you. That's more your shadow. You don't want to see. Yet it's not a shadow if it's bring into the light of awareness. So when it's in the Venn diagram, you're like, oh, I can see the shadow. I can see the light. Beautiful. Integration in the middle. Okay. What is the gem of that shadow? Because the portion of the collective that you chose to transmute, your highest, deepest, most excruciating, painful trauma that brought you the most suffering in this incarnation, that's the gem. So instead of keeping it in the shadow, how can I use these reflections that I have received from my close ones or the people that have represented authority in my life, people I had valued their opinion about me? Because I wanted their love, I wanted their attention, I wanted their approval, which you don't need because that's another step of the self-concept. In your ideal self-concept, you can't give a shit about what anybody thinks about you. You don't need their approval. You don't need their love. You don't need their validation because you are creating your preferred playground. You are creating your curated version of heaven and earth, what feels yummy and juicy and delicious for you. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what others think. You cannot give a shit what others think. That's a disclaimer. None of this will work if you still are seeking approval and validation. So the moment you're here, you don't give a shit about approval. You don't give a shit about validation. Okay, check, check. Write in your journal. I don't give a shit about approval. You don't have to curse like me. It's just my style. I don't care about approval. I don't care about validation. Or I don't give a fuck about approval. I don't give a fuck about validation. I am whole and complete by myself. I accept myself. Okay, that's the neutrality of your self-concept. Now we have a canvas to work on. So in the middle of the diagram, you're right. If I can mix my shadow and my light, what is the most actualized, empowering expression of my full potential? Not just the good guy, good girl, or not just the bad boy, bad woman. No, what is the integrated, most actualized self-concept in which I could use what I consider to be a curse, what I consider to be my hindrance, my biggest suffering, the karmic imprint that I chose to transmute by incarnating? How can I mix that with all the qualities that I love and adore about myself? How can I accept those qualities too and make a juicy, sweet middle self concept? So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, damn, fuck yes, I'm so excited to be in my chosen simulation. You can upgrade the themes of your incarnation, yet they all have a specific flavor. Everybody has a specific flavor that you chose before coming back here to play out the lessons, the learnings, the integrations, and all the abundances. You shows your highest potential, and that's the one we're activating, crystallizing, catalyzing in this course. Okay, so step one, crystallize self-concept. When you have that done, and you commit to every morning as soon as you wake up, ground in that self-concept. Again, before you go pee, before you open your email, before you check your Instagram or your bank account or whatever it is, before looking at your spouse and having morning sex, if that's something you do, I know, whatever floats your boat. This is the most important thing. Okay, it's like if you are getting downloaded back into your body, like in the movie Avatar, and it's like, okay, these first 5 minutes, even 5 seconds of you opening up your eyes have 10,000 volts of higher energy, of way more higher energy than the ones you're going to have 2 hours after you wake up. Okay, so those first 5 minutes, it's like if a minute of your time was worth $1,000 more, a million. Those ones are worth a trillion, okay? So a symbol, that's another thing you're gonna learn here. Numbers are a mirage and are symbols of value exchange with no inherent meaning, just the meaning that you wish to attach to them. And we need to know how to crystallize the alchemy of the numbers that you wanna use to share your products, your services, your signature frequency. So people say, fuck yes, and they wanna receive them right away. Yet, step one, as soon as you wake up, you tune into your light and your shadow, mixing one. And again, it's no longer a shadow when it's not in the unconscious, it's in the light of awareness. What is my most yummiest, juiciest, actualized version of myself? And I choose to tune into it the first 5 minutes when I wake up. Okay. Daily, every morning, forever. Most important thing to do. Okay, we'll see you in the next model.